It was 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun had set, and the lights in the department offices flickered on. After the day's hustle and bustle, a strange silence now reigned. In the large inner hall, the ventilation fan spun slowly. A few officers were waiting for their shift to end. One elderly officer, Officer Miller, sat with his legs stretched out on his chair, flipping through a newspaper. Another, young Officer Jones, was watching a video on his mobile phone, smiling faintly. A sense of lethargy hung in the air. Just then, there was a faint scratching sound at the heavy wooden door. The door creaked open slightly, and a thin, frail girl peeked in. She looked to be about 18 or 19 years old. Her face was pale with exhaustion and worry. Her large blue eyes held a strange terror, like a frightened animal seeking shelter. Her clothes were dusty, torn, and worn out in places. Her messy blonde hair and bare feet told the story of her poverty and helplessness. It looked as if she hadn't slept or eaten properly in days. In a trembling voice, she whispered, "Sir, please help me." Jones, busy with his phone, looked up at her and then winked at Miller. Miller lowered his newspaper. Peering over his reading glasses, he looked her over and said in a heavy, sarcastic tone, "What's going on? Is there a carnival running here? This is the captain's office, not a charity home or a shelter. Get out." The girl flinched at the harsh voice. Her feet froze at the doorway, but she didn't leave. Her eyes filled with tears. Gathering her courage, she said, "I'm not begging, sir. My little sister has gone missing. Please find her." "Sister has gone missing." The words echoed in the hall. The laziness in the room suddenly broke. A desk clerk sitting in the corner laughed. Jones smirked and quipped, "Wow, the sister is lost too. Do you think police headquarters is a daycare for missing children? Every day someone or another pops their head in." Officer Miller snapped, "Are you crazy? This is work for the local precinct. The captain sits here. Get away from here. Don't ruin the captain's mood." Tears now rolled down the girl's cheeks. She pulled an old, crumpled photograph from her dirty bag. The photo was blurry and the colors had faded. It showed a little girl laughing heartily. "This is my sister Lily. She's only 10 years old. She suddenly disappeared from our neighborhood last night. I've looked everywhere, but I can't find her." There was such pleading in her voice that silence descended upon the hall for a moment. But Miller's heart didn't melt. He said coldly, "Oh, poor girls from downtown run off here and there all the time. Maybe she ran away with someone. She'll come back on her own in a few days. Are we supposed to go looking for everyone now? Go, don't increase our workload. Besides, this isn't our job. Go report it to your local precinct." Mary, the girl, cried, "I went to the precinct, sir. The officers there called me a beggar and chased me away. They told me to take this drama somewhere else." Hearing this, Miller and Jones looked at each other and laughed, as if this were just a daily occurrence. The girl broke down completely. She didn't know where to go or who to ask for help. Just as she was about to collapse to the floor, a heavy, deep voice came from the inner cabin. "What is all that noise outside?" It was Captain William. Captain William's name was famous across the entire state. Everyone admired his honesty, discipline, and style of work. To criminals, he was a name of terror, but to the common people, he was a guardian. As soon as his voice was heard, pin-drop silence fell over the hall. Miller almost jumped out of his chair and straightened his newspaper. Jones quickly shoved his phone into his pocket. Everyone stood at attention. Miller, flustered, said, "Nothing, sir. A girl is here. She says her sister is lost." The sound of pages turning came from inside, followed by the captain's voice. "Someone going missing is not a small matter, Miller, and learn to distinguish between a complainant's plea and begging. Send her in." Miller's face went pale. He gestured sheepishly toward the girl and said, "Go, the captain is calling you." Mary walked toward the cabin with trembling legs. Her heart was pounding. She feared the boss inside might be just like the men outside. She knocked slowly on the door. "Come in," the voice said. Mary entered the cabin fearfully. It was large and clean. Across the big desk, Captain William sat in a comfortable chair. The badges on his uniform gleamed. His face was stern, but there was a strange peace in his blue eyes. He observed Mary deeply, seeing her devastated face, tear-filled eyes, and fearful demeanor. William understood everything in a glance. He got up from his chair, poured a glass of water from a bottle, and handed it to Mary. His voice was much softer now. "Sit down, child. Drink some water first, and don't be afraid. Tell me what happened." Mary was surprised by such kind behavior from a high-ranking officer. She took the glass with shaking hands and drank it all in one breath. The burning in her throat subsided slightly. She gathered her courage and began to tell her story. "Sir, my name is Mary, and my little sister is Lily. Yesterday evening, everyone in our neighborhood went to the community tap to fetch water. The children were playing there. When everyone returned, Lily couldn't be found. We searched for her all night, every house, every alley, the nearby park. She was nowhere. I went to the local station this morning, but they chased me away." Weeping, Mary placed the blurry photo on William's table. William picked up the photo. A sweet girl's smile. He stared at the picture for a while, as if trying to remember something. His gaze stuck to the photo. For a few moments, a strange silence filled the cabin. William looked up from the photo and asked Mary, "What did you say your name was?" "Mary." "This photo seems very old. Where was it taken?" Sadness returned to Mary's eyes. "Many years ago, sir. My father took it at the county fair. Shortly after that, he left us. Now we two sisters are all we have. I work housekeeping in a big house nearby and take care of Lily. She is my everything, sir. Please find her." William's voice choked up. He asked slowly, "What was your father's name?" "Robert." Hearing this name, William's fingers froze on the file. The name pierced his chest like an arrow. Robert, the name he had heard in the hazy memories of his childhood, the name after whose departure his childhood was spent in foster care. His gaze suddenly fell on Mary's right arm, where her dress was slightly torn. There was an old, deep burn scar there. Controlling his voice, William asked, "What is that scar from?" Mary looked at her scar and said, "It's from childhood, sir. Our trailer caught fire. I was trapped inside. Father got burned trying to save me, but he pulled me out. Shortly after that, he disappeared. People say he ran away from us." Captain William's heart began to race. The sound of someone screaming rang in his ears. Dancing flames flashed before his eyes. That terrible accident of his childhood, the fire that took his family. He had a scar just like that on his own back. He remembered how someone had pulled him from the burning house and got him to the hospital, and after waking up, he found himself in a foster home. He was told no one else in his family had survived. With a trembling voice, he asked the final question, "Mary, do you remember your father's?" Mary looked down. "Only a little, very blurry memories. He had a strong build, but he left us. Mom had passed away before that. Father is gone too." Captain Williams stood up from his chair as if he had received an electric shock. His eyes were now full of tears. He walked around the desk and stood near Mary. "No, he didn't leave you. He was forced to stay away. And it is very likely that your father is my father too." Mary started and looked up at him. She couldn't process it. "I don't understand, sir. What are you saying?" Tears rolled down William's face. The tough police officer, whose name made criminals tremble, was crying like a child today. "Mary, I am also Robert's son. I am your big brother, William." It was as if an explosion went off in the quiet office cabin. The silence was so deep, the ticking of the wall clock could be heard clearly. Mary's lips trembled. She couldn't believe it. "Brother? You're telling the truth? My brother? In that fire?" William stepped forward and took her hands. "No, I survived. I was severely injured in that accident. Someone took me to the hospital, and from there I went into the child care system. I was told I had a little sister who died. I thought you were dead, and you thought God, after all these years." William pulled a very old photo from his wallet. A man, a young boy, and a baby in his lap. It matched Mary's photo perfectly. Mary couldn't hold back anymore. She cried out, "Brother," and threw herself into William's arms. Years of pain, loneliness, and helplessness flowed out as tears. a brother and sister reunited in a place no one could have imagined. Outside in the hall, Miller and the clerks were watching everything through the crack in the door. Their blood ran cold. The girl they had chased away as a beggar was the own sister of their biggest boss. Officer Miller's head was spinning. Now this was no longer just about a missing child. It was an unfinished family epic that was about to be completed. William calmed Mary down, sat her in a chair, and stroked her head. "Hush now, sister. I am here. Nothing will happen to Lily. I will find her, no matter where she is." The officer inside him had awakened, but this time the mission was personal. He pressed the intercom button. His voice had regained its old authority, but now there was a fierce urgency in it. "Miller, Jones, get in my cabin immediately." Both of them almost ran inside. Their faces were pale with fear. They stood with their heads bowed. William sat back in his chair. His face was hard as steel. "Issue an alert across the entire county. Set up roadblocks on every exit route of the city. Send this child's photo to every police station. Flash the message on the radio. A 10-year-old girl named Lily, missing since last night. She must be found at any cost. This case is under my direct supervision from now on. I want updates every 30 minutes. Go." Both shouted "Yes, sir," and fled as if they had been granted their lives. Within moments, the police machinery roared to life. The office that was drowning in laziness 5 minutes ago was now witnessing a storm. Phones rang, sirens echoed across the city. When the sergeant of the precinct that had chased Mary away received the direct call from the captain, his hands shook. William simply said, "Sergeant, the girl you chased away this morning is my sister, and the girl who is missing is also my sister. If I don't find her by tomorrow morning, be ready to leave your badge on the table." The sergeant began to sweat. He took his entire force and swept into the area. William kept Mary close, reassuring her. Hours passed. The night deepened. Mary was restless, but she found a strange strength sitting beside her brother. Around 11 p.m., news came over William's radio. A source reported that some people were hiding a child in an old warehouse on the edge of town, likely planning to traffic her. William immediately ordered the SWAT team to raid the location. He wanted to go himself, but he couldn't leave Mary alone. The next 15 minutes felt like a century to Mary and William. Then William's phone rang. An officer's voice came from the other side. "Sir, good news. The child has been found. She's a bit scared, but physically unharmed. We've also arrested 2 suspects." Hearing this, tears came to William's eyes. He put a hand on Mary's shoulder and smiled. "We found her, Mary. We found our Lily." Mary danced with joy. The old smile from the photograph returned to her face after many months. Half an hour later, a police car stopped in front of the office. A female officer walked in with Lily. Lily was terrified, but as soon as she saw Mary, she screamed, "Dee Dee!" and ran to hug her. The 2 sisters held each other and cried for a long time. These were tears of joy. William stood in the corner, watching it all. His eyes were wet, too. Today, he wasn't just an officer. He was a brother, the head of a family. When the sisters' crying subsided, William approached them. He stroked Lily's golden hair. Lily looked at him fearfully. Mary said to her, "Lily, this is our brother, our big brother." Lily asked in surprise, "We have a brother too?" William smiled and picked her up in his arms. "Yes, little sister." That night, William said nothing to the officers who had been rude to Mary. They had already received their punishment from their own conscience. William left the office with his 2 sisters. He put them in his official car and drove toward his bungalow. Mary and Lily looked out at the glittering world in amazement. Yesterday, they lived on the streets. Today, they were riding in the police chief's car to their brother's home. At the house gate, William's wife, Jennifer, was waiting. William told her everything. Jennifer was an incredibly kind woman. She stepped forward and hugged both sisters. "From today, this house is not just ours, it is yours too." Jennifer bathed them in warm water and served them food. All 4 ate together at the dining table. After many years, a complete family was having dinner together. After eating, Lily asked,
"Brother, will we stay here now? Do we have to go back to that old place?" William